Welcome to the Australian Business Executive Podcast, where we speak with Australia's most influential industry professionals on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all our content, including our magazines, podcasts and videos, by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Darren Wallis, Managing Director of Gardner Homes. Gardner Homes is rated as Australia's #1 and most trusted national home building brand as a result of their level of customer satisfaction. From humble beginnings in 1983 in Queensland as an independent building firm owned by Gardner, Gardner Homes quickly grew to 8 regional offices, building as many as 1,000 custom homes annually. Darren started with the organization in 1994 as an accountant involved in the daily running of the business and also assisted in the programming of the current franchise software program. He became a director and partner of the franchising company in 1996 and in 2000 was appointed as the franchising MD, which now has more than 120 franchise locations. Darren has been a founding director of Smith & Sons Renovations and Extensions, Total Fit-Outs, Goodbean, and Mate CO2, a unique carbonated tea made here in Australia. Darren, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you.
So, firstly, could you give us a bit of the company's history and explain your franchising model?
Absolutely. Gardner Homes, as you said before, was founded by Gardner back in 1983, and it grew to like 6 regional offices in southeast Queensland. And then in 1994, we shortly after I joined the company, we made the decision to actually franchise the business. And so we took those 6 regional offices and turned them into franchise operations. As a result of getting a builder coming into our corporate office and saying, hey, I want a franchise, I want to grow my business. And we said, we don't offer franchises. But then he insisted. So we looked around and we thought actually it was a really good model to grow the business. And so we looked at franchising from there.
What happened at that point? I mean, were you already a very well-known name to actually have someone approach you about this in the first place?
Yeah. Gardner Homes was Gardner Homes at one of those points in time was the largest builder in Queensland, and the builder had actually gone to the HIA, the Housing Industry Australia, in Brisbane, and said, "Hey, how do I grow my business?" And someone down there, we still don't know who, said, "You need to buy a franchise off one of the large builders." And I don't even think franchising was in building at that point. And so he called into us. We were on the Sunshine Coast on his way back home, and so it was really a unique turning point in the company when we looked at it. And Greg spoke to one of his general manager at the time, and he said, well, if you have a franchise, I want the local office here, because they knew how profitable it was run. So bar one, all the offices got bought out by the then area managers that were running each of those 6 offices.
Right. Okay. And Gardner has been awarded as Australia's #1 and most trusted national home building brand. What's the history of steps to get yourself to this point?
Well, part of it is just the quality of the people we have working with us. Our franchisees. We, as part of what Gardner Homes does as a franchise operation, is we look for quality builders and people that fit our culture. And then we can help give them the skills, resources, and systems to grow their business. So, a small builder that's doing, half a dozen or a dozen a year, we can take them up to 30, 40, 50, 100 houses a year. But what that does is we've now got a local builder trading under, our name, our systems, our marketing, but he's dealing direct with the customer. So they have a high expectation of what they want to deliver to the customer. So, we made the choice several years ago to really focus on the customer. Back in the 2000s, we were doing focus groups on customers to find out what customers wanted, focusing on what, years ago, the building industry builders were looked upon like, sort of snake oil salesman almost, and so we wanted to change that around, and we started focusing on trust and how we build the customer's trust and how we deliver a better experience for the customer. I mean, it's taken that sort of thing doesn't happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and say you want to be, the most trusted national home builder. You've got to work on that for years about, really focusing on the customer, giving them a great experience. And, we've got, many, examples of where we've built for the grandparents and then built for the parents and then built for the kids, as they've sort of grown up. So it's been, families that have trusted our brand for a long, long time.
So you develop the model through franchising, and you take a number of years to build trust. But where do you see the differences in terms of affordability, design, the process of the build compared to competitors in the market?
Well, look, a house is still a product, but it's how you deliver the service to the customer. So, being one of the largest, in the top 5 builders in Australia, we obviously get good buying power, so we can build people's house at an affordable price. And, having that name, we attract, we make sure that we look after our trades, so you get the better trades involved. And it's just all about, again, delivering quality to the customer. So I'll just repeat that question again. I'll just keep...
Yeah, of course. So what we're talking about is a little bit of, the differences between other builders. So you're talking about your buying power, but, so what are these issues that tend to come up for your customers related to affordable design concepts and process?
Yeah, look, we spend, a lot of time and energy and money on developing, the right sort of design and style. We've got architects that, continually stay at the front of the market. But then you've got to be able to mould that into an affordable product as well. So it's how you set up your buying structure with your different suppliers. It's how you work with your trades to make sure that we can deliver the latest styles, the latest concepts at an affordable price. We also, just teamed up, with, Darren Palmer from The Block in putting together designs and some interior designs for customers that, are right at the front of, right at the, current sort of stylings and designs of houses. Cutting edge of design and development and interior designs. A lot of companies, and that's their choice. Find a sports star just to represent them, to bring credibility. But what we said, we don't want to do that. What we did is we got someone within the industry that wanted to work with us, and we could work together to actually bring value rather than just have someone that's a famous person being the front of your building company. Someone comes and being involved with you that can add, exceptional value to the customer and can add something to develop a partnership with that person. So that's been one of the campaigns we've just released recently with Darren. It's been, hugely successful already because people can see, this Hampton, for example, style house design's been worked on with Darren Palmer. The interior design's been done, by a professional that's, highly respected in the industry. And so, for not much extra cost, we're bringing that extra design and look to the build for the customer.
Okay. Are there still a lot of differences, based upon where you're building in different regions or different tastes, like when we traditionally hear, about the Queenslander type of build? Does this affect you guys in terms of the design that people expect rather?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's part of the challenge of being a national home builder, I guess. You've got people, in our case being international, you've got someone, building a house in Darwin, is going to be totally different to someone building, a house in Melbourne or a house in, Tasmania, or in our case, a house in, Queenstown, New Zealand, or a house in Colorado, USA. So, you've got to have, architects can design around all those different areas, and they all have their unique look and feel. So it's a matter of, again, quite difficult to remain cutting edge across all those different styles of housing. But it's interesting how often they cross over. Recently I remember, we took a lot of our more modern inner city look housing to Denver, Colorado, and they loved it. And it's quite unique for them over there, but they go, this is the way the market's going. And all of a sudden, by taking some stuff that we were doing, inner city here in Australia, became cutting edge for inner city Denver. And the same sort of thing with your Hampton styles and some of your Californian style houses are becoming popular here. So we're lucky in that we're able to probably take some of the really cutting edge and quality designs from different areas and introduce them into other areas as they become popular and something different that people want to have.
It's not too often that we hear about commercial builders who work internationally, but it's a bit of an anomaly for a residential builder. Can you tell us about your footprint now and how you've been able to make inroads into some of these foreign countries?
Oh, absolutely. There might be a couple of builders from Australia that build a little bit in New Zealand, but I think I'm the only one that I know of that builds sort of across in the USA as well. We've got offices obviously throughout all the states of Australia. We've got about 26 offices in New Zealand and a similar number in the USA. And our biggest growth market overseas at the moment is the USA because we're obviously we can have a lot more offices over there. We operate in California, Colorado, Texas, Indiana, Florida, and we're looking to open up in Oklahoma shortly. So that's been really exciting. And New Zealand, we went across there in about 1996 because we thought it would be a great place to help a couple of builders franchise and give them some. We looked at the New Zealand market and we thought it was a little bit inefficient, so we thought we could help a couple of builders get established. But it really took off. It took off really, really well, and we've got a great team over there and have been the largest residential builder for several years.
I was over there recently myself, and I go over there for business trips occasionally. Why is it so much cheaper to be able to build sort of McMansions over there compared to what we have here?
I wouldn't say it's that much cheaper. No, not really. I think it depends on when you've got to take into account currency conversions and all sorts of things, but it's pretty similar, really. And in fact, some of their existing houses, they've had a building boom, real estate boom for several years, and so it's driven the prices of existing product right up. So it may seem that building is more efficient than buying existing at the moment over there, but. Yeah, I would say actually that's pretty similar to Australia, to be honest.
Okay. And now you're recognized as a leader in the industry. You've talked about building up your trust. How do you maintain this? As you know, an industry leader comes forward and then the other people tend to come up and match that. So how do you maintain this? Yeah,
that's like a lot of people say, it's easy to get to number one. It's a bit harder to stay there. But as we sort of realised that we were, what we'd been putting in place for several years and really focusing on came to fruition, and people realised they did trust our brand. We then even made it more conscious. So we're continually, as part of our culture with our franchisees and part of our culture with our staff, we're always talking about, how we can better service the customer, how we can, if we're going to put ourselves out there as the most trusted, what are we doing to ensure that continues to happen? So, there's lots of builders, and in any industry, there's people that come and go and get popular and then lose their popularity a little bit. But if you just stay true to your core values, and you stay true to, this is what we want to do. We've got here because we've serviced customers well, because we've looked after customers, because of the people within the business. The quality of franchisees, the quality of our staff, the quality of our salespeople, the quality of our trades. Well, then what we've got to do is continually to improve that, continually making sure we're looking at all aspects of those things. Because, there's going to be another builder that comes up that, maybe a builder can offer a cheaper product, but, can they deliver, and can they give the customer that experience and that they want, and can they know that if they come back time and time again, they're going to get looked after. They're going to get a good experience. They're going to get a design that's unique. They're going to get, floor plans, interior designs and stuff that's cutting edge, but at an affordable price. Yes, someone can design like you say, a mansion, but is it affordable to the average Australian?
Beginning probably in the last quarter of 2018, we've been starting to read a little bit more reports of a downturn in the housing economy and how highly mortgaged and leveraged a lot of people are. How do you sort of see this affecting your business, and what's your position on that?
Look, it's I hate to be political, but it could depend a little bit on what happens in the election coming up. Because that could have, depending on what the policies are, could have an impact on driving up investment properties for a short period of time if Labor gets in, and then seeing it fall off a cliff a little bit. But if there's a drop in the market, if people say a 10% drop in the market or whatever, the sky's falling in. But really, if you look at it in reality, it's a 10% drop. But what are you? If you're the trusted brand that you're out there, continuing to offer customers a great product, there can be a small drop off, but there's still thousands of people buying new homes, and they're looking for a company they can trust. And certainly, often in those downturns is when people turn back to companies that they trust. They're not out there just trying to get the cheapest price real quickly. They're looking for someone that they can trust to build their home. So, to be honest, as during downturns, we actually usually increase market share. We might dislike those houses, but our market share actually goes up as a result of people becoming let's look at. They look a little bit closer at who they're dealing with, what's being offered, and they go back to a brand they can trust.
We're about to wrap up for the day. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss or share before we finish off today?
No, except that the fact that we do franchising in the construction industry is fairly unique. We're probably pretty much the founders of it. There's a couple of other builders that do it now, but we just see it as a great model where we can give an up and coming builder skills, resources, and systems to help them grow their business. And we just think it's been great for the industry, for both franchising, for both the construction industry and the consumer as a whole.
Perfect. Well, Darren, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, thanks so much.
This has been a production of the Australian Business Executive, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Australian Business Executive, including our magazines, podcasts and videos, by visiting www.theabe.com.au and clicking on subscribe.